Good evening. Welcome to this edition of my channel, Love and Dating for Intelligent People. Tonight, let us talk about what I call the Dominator. The Dominator, a conversational narcissist, and how to spot the Dominator. You're sitting across from a man at dinner. He's attractive, he's articulate, he has stories, good ones, actually. And somewhere around the 20-minute mark, you realize something. He hasn't asked you a single question. Not one. Not, what do you do? Not, where did you grow up? Not even, how's your meal? 20 minutes. Not one question. And here's the thing he doesn't even notice. He's having a wonderful time. You? You're invisible. If this has ever happened to you, you've just met someone I call the Dominator. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to spot him, what's actually happening inside his mind, and most importantly, what an intelligent woman does about it. So, again, here's what to watch for. First, the monologue disguised as conversation. The Dominator talks in long stretches, story after story, opinion after opinion. And when you try to add something, when you say, oh, that reminds me of a time when I watch what happens, he'll nod politely, maybe half a bit, and then he's right back to his own narrative. Your contribution didn't land. It didn't register. It was just a pause he waited through. Second, the redirect. You mention a trip you took to Italy. He says, oh, I was in Rome last year, and suddenly you're hearing about his trip to Rome. Your Italy is gone. This is not a man who is building a conversation with you. He is using your words as a springboard to get back to himself. Third, and this one is subtle, the absence of curiosity. An interested person follows up. An interested person says, what was that like for you? Or how did you handle that? Narrator doesn't ask because, and I want you to hear this clearly, it has not occurred to him to wonder. He's not withholding curiosity. He doesn't have it. At least not in this moment, not for you. Now, I want to be fair here. We've all dominated a conversation at some point. We've all been excited about something and talked too much. That's human. That's not what I'm describing. The dominator does this consistently. It's not a bad night. It's a pattern. And if you're paying attention, and you will be, after today the pattern shows itself quickly. The sociologist Charles Derber studied this behavior extensively. He identified something he called conversational narcissism. And before you react to that word, let me explain what he actually meant by it. Hi, welcome. Let's sit down and have a cup of coffee. Charles Derber says there are two types of responses. He called them shift responses and support responses. A support response keeps the attention on the person who's speaking. If you say, I've been thinking about changing careers, a support response would be, really? What's drawing you in a different direction? It's generous. It says, I'm here. Tell me more. A shift response moves the attention back to the listener. Same scenario, you say, I've been thinking about changing careers. And the shift response would be, yeah, I changed careers 3 years ago. And let me tell you, the spotlight just moved. And it moved to him. Now, here's the key insight. The dominator is a habitual shift responder. almost everything you say becomes a doorway back to himself. And Derber's research showed that most people don't even realize they're doing it. That's worth sitting with for a moment. He's not scheming. He's not thinking, how do I make this about me? He simply defaults there. It's his conversational gravity. And this is where I want you to understand something important about the dominator's psychology. This behavior usually comes from one of three places. One, deep insecurity. He talks to manage his anxiety. Silence feels threatening. The sound of his own voice feels safe. He fills space because empty space frightens him. Two, underdeveloped social awareness. No one ever taught him, or he never learned, that conversation is an exchange. He grew up in a family where talking meant performing, and whoever held the floor had the power. Three, genuine self absorption. And I don't say that with cruelty. Some people have simply never practiced the muscle of curiosity about other people. It's atrophied. They live in a world of one. Now, the reason matters, and I'll tell you why in a moment when we get to what you actually do about this. Because your response should be different depending on which of these three is driving the behavior. But first, I want to give you something practical, a tool you can use the next time you're sitting across from someone and you feel yourself disappearing. In the next section, we will discuss the three question test. These are the three questions that you will ask yourself. By doing that, you will find out that your partner is a real dominator. After you ask yourself the three questions, just try to be quiet and observe. When you suspect you're sitting across from a dominator, I want you to do three things in this order. Question 1. Has he asked me anything about myself in the last 15 minutes? Not a rhetorical question. Not, right? At the end of his own sentence. An actual question directed at understanding who you are. If the answer is no, take note. That's your first data point. Question 2. When I share something, does he build on it or redirect it? This is Derber's framework in action. Try it. Offer something about yourself, something real, something that deserves a follow up. I just started painting again. My daughter is getting married this fall. Watch what he does with it. Does he ask you a question about it? Does he sit in your moment with you? Or does it become a bridge back to his world? Question 3, and this is the most important one. When I stop talking, does he notice? Is the same each time? You're not on a date. You're an audience to the dominator, one and only audience listening to his monologue. And an intelligent woman is not an audience. Do not allow you to be his audience. Thank you for listening, intelligent people. Now, let's talk about what can you, intelligent woman, do when you encounter a dominator. So now we arrive at the question that actually matters. What do you do about it? And here's where I might surprise you because my answer is not leave immediately. My answer is test for teachability. Remember those three root causes I mentioned? Insecurity, underdeveloped social skills, or genuine self absorption? The first two are workable. The third one, that's your signal to protect your time. Here's how you test for teachability. You name the behavior directly, without accusation, without sarcasm, in that warm but clear way that intelligent women do so well. You might say something like this: I've noticed you haven't asked me much about myself tonight. I'd love for you to know some things about me. That's it. That's the test. A teachable man will hear that. He might be embarrassed. He might stumble a little, but he'll course correct. He'll say, "You're right, I'm sorry. Tell me about you." And then critically, he'll actually listen to the answer. He'll follow up. He'll try. That man deserves a second date, not because he was perfect, but because he responded to honest, respectful feedback. That's emotional intelligence. That's a man who can grow. But the dominator who is truly self absorbed, when you name it, he'll dismiss it. He'll say, "What do you mean? We've been talking this whole time." Or he'll turn it into a joke. Or, and this is the one to really watch for, he'll be momentarily attentive and then slide right back within 5 minutes. That's your answer. That's all the information you need. An intelligent woman does not try to fix a man who can't hear her. She doesn't stay to give a third chance and a fourth. She finishes her dinner with grace. She thanks him for the evening and she moves on. Because here's what I want you to carry with you from this conversation: your attention is valuable, your curiosity, your follow up questions, your genuine interest in another person, those are gifts. And you deserve to sit across from someone who gives those gifts back. So, my friends, that's the conclusion of The Dominator. Now you know what he looks like, what's driving the behavior, how to test for it, and what to do when you find it. In the next episode, we're going to talk about something a little different, and I think it's going to resonate with a lot of you. It's called the intellectual gap. What happens when you're dating someone who isn't your intellectual equal, and how to know whether that's a deal breaker or something you can work with? That's for next time. I'll see you there. Thank you for staying with me tonight. Tomorrow will be a wonderful, warmer day here in Minneapolis. Please take care, 'cause I care. This is Edita, and I'll see you here next time. Bye now.